Hi guys. Okay, we're gonna trim this boat and this EC12's deck, and I thought I would show you some setup that prior to doing some of the trimming and the sanding and filing and everything. So here we have the EC12 that we did the other day, and before, what we want to talk about is on my bench, you can see at the front there's two rods that come out. Okay. And these rods are really cool because you can put these foam bars down, put this down to pad the keel, and then you're gonna have to hold on a second. Let me put this down. And now you can see, now the boat is sitting on its side, and you can file it after we trim this deck off, this deck edge off. So first what we're going to do is we're going to flip the boat upside down. And I got these foam pieces that the boat will rest on when it's upside down. Ugh. Okay, let's get this out of the way. So now the boat's upside down. I'm going to pull. See down here, I can get it really close. You can see where the tool goes right up in here and scrapes it. So maybe it's better over here. So you can see where the tool came in here and left a radius between the deck and the hull. And what it did is you see the deck, then the radius, then a bright blue line, then the stuff that just gets scraped out of the way, and then the rest of the tape. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the Dremel tool to cut this flange off, and we want to get within about maybe a 1/16 of an inch of the hull, but not too close. And one of the things that you do when you're doing this is you're resting your knuckles on the tabletop to guide and to steady the cutoff wheel, and then about every 12 inches you cut this flange off, because it can start vibrating and grab the wheel and pop the wheel out, and then you grab and gouge your deck. So about every foot we'll be cutting this piece off, then coming down and another foot and cutting the whole side, flip it around, and we'll cut the other side. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And again, this is the tool, you can sort of see it, that we use to make the fillet, and make sure you don't have any voids. Okay, and then this is the Dremel tool that we're using to cut it off. So let me put this up here and start this up. So it's going to get a little noisy, sorry about that. Let me put these on. So sorry about the noise. I'll see if I can edit the noise out. And I also use a vacuum, because it sends fiberglass dust everywhere. So put a pair of gloves on, because it's real itchy. And so I put a pair of gloves on. Put some ear protection on. Oh God, tool can't reach. But you can see it, the table lets you make sure that this doesn't move when you're cutting it, and it doesn't grab it and try and pull it into the boat. So one more loud session, and then I'll flip it around and do the other side. Let's flip her around. Ugh. I'm going to try and see if I can figure a way of getting it down here so you can see what I'm doing while I'm cutting. So bear with me. Alright. All this is scrap. Oh. I rolled it over. There we go. Now you can see how we cut it off. It's about maybe not quite a 1/16 of an inch. You can see the radius. So the next thing that we're going to do, take these earphones off. Let me put this back up here. All right. Next thing that comes in handy, go this way, is the on the side of my bench. I have. Let me show you. On the side of my bench, I have 2 wood dowels that come in, and they're supported. Okay? And then over the top of the dowels, you put the pipe insulation for, you know, for heating pipes. You get that at like Home Depot. Okay? So then you put a towel here. All right, and then you can take the boat and lay the boat down here, and the keel will lay on here, and then the boat will sit on its side so you can work on it. So let me do that real quick. So now you can see with the boat on its side, here, I'll go over here. With the boat on its side, makes it is a lot easier to sand this area. And the whole trick here is that when you look here, you can see the dark, then the waste. All right, let me get zoomed in real here. So it's the blue of the tape, the waste that we squeegeed out, then the radius, then the deck. So the trick here is when we're sanding with an orbital, we'll start out with an orbital sander. And what we're going to sand for is we're going to sand this flush. And when the orbital sander, using about 180 grit sandpaper, when it touches the blue, it will actually go from a dark blue to a light blue. So that means that you're getting really close to sanding it at a perfect angle and a perfect edge. And then once you've sanded it, then we peel the tape off, okay? And then we draw file it. And draw filing is not filing like this. Draw filing is taking a file and sliding it down, and the edges of the file scrape the edge of the hull, and that's what gives us a really nice, smooth, sharp edge on the edge of the hull. So now what I'm going to be doing is hitting an orbital sander and sanding this edge all the way down front to back, okay? And then I'm looking at, when I'm sanding, trying to keep the face of the sander perpendicular to the side and watching the tape, because the tape protects the hull from the sander. But as you start touching the tape with the sander, the tape goes from a dark blue to kind of a soft baby blue, and that means, you know, stop, don't go any closer. So let me go and do that. Okay, put this back up here. And the noise is going to get big again. Let me put this closer. All right. Now we're going to sand. I'm done with that. We're going to sand the side of the boat with the orbital using 180 grit sandpaper. And it's loud and noisy, so I'll see if I can cut the sound off. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take the tape off. And that'll expose the raw edge right up against the fillet. And you can see as it comes off, most of the work got done with the orbital. Still, we gotta clean that edge up a little bit more using a file. And here's my file hiding. So this is a single cut and a double cut file. A double cut is where the cuts on the file are like that. And what we're using is the single cut side, which only has one line of cuts. And everybody thinks of filing as been filing like that. You don't file like that. You basically take the file and the cuts are like that. And then running the file like that is called draw filing. And it's not sawing, it's just draw filing. Very little sawing motion. And that gives you such a nice, a little bit of a lip there, so I got to do a little bit more down here. I got a little piece of, where is it? I got a little piece of blue tape in there when I hit the tape. They use a wire brush to clean out the teeth of the file. There we go. Oh, got a dirty spot right there. Down here and get this edge. Okay, well, now we've got it so that you can't feel any lip at all. So what we do is take a little bit of polishing compound . Oops. I got some fiberglass compound. Fell on the floor, so you don't use it on your hull if it fell on the floor, because you might grab some grit or dirt, and then you put it on your hull. I gotta pull a little more off of that right there and right there. There. See, now you can barely see. I'll bring it down here and look. You can barely see where it is. Barely see it. And when we attached the deck to the hull, we mixed in some white gel coat, which helps blend the edge. You can just barely see the line where the hull deck resin is that's used to bond the two. This particular boat is going to get sanded from the waterline up, so I'll end up coming back and hitting it with 320 above the waterline where the paint is going to go, so that the paint can adhere to something and will mask the deck. But I wanted to show you what it looked like and how I did it. And it came out good. There's a couple little things I got to touch up. There's this little lip there, but not bad. How's that, huh?